Put some lights in. Right there, I'm going to take that one all the way to the edge because I want a little bump in the leaf right there. Maybe right here. So basically, I mean, it's not perfection. It's not, there's not a line there. You just paint it the way you want it to look, the shape you want. If you're painting from a photograph, look at that photograph and don't look at the leaf. Look at the lights and the darks, and they'll be in oblong, ununiform shapes, you know, nonconformist shapes, and you just kind of duplicate that shape and the value as much as you can. It's really, don't overthink it. Okay, so now I'm going into the light gray. Put that on my brush. Again, I've not cleaned my brush, so I'm still working with all these grays in it. And that goes a long way for harmony. Come back to these same areas, but in a smaller. It's going to be inside that light area that I put on to begin with. It's not going to be as large. And I'm going to come in and soften that as well. Let's go back to some more of it. And come over here, and that's in a smaller area. I try not to have hard lines. Let's see, we were over there, and we were over here. Okay. You can do this softening with your regular paintbrush if you like. You can do it with the brush or the mop, whichever you're more comfortable. I usually kind of use both. But if you're going to use your brush, you have to pinch wipe all of that out of your brush before you start patting. Okay. So we're stepping up in our values by 2. So that was our lightest gray. So now I got to go back into that light gray and pick up a little white with it so that I can jump up a couple of values. 1 or 2. Doesn't have to be 2 every time. So now I have it lighter, and once again I'm coming in here with a smaller area. And besides this mop, you can also use a dome blender and just pat those in. I like to use dome blenders quite a bit. And then smooth it with the mop. Be sure that you wipe your mop off a lot. Okay. I think I lost some of my dark over here, so I might have to put that back in. It's kind of a back and forth. You almost never put it in the way you want it to the very first time. And now this time with my dirty brush, I'm just going to go into the white. And because it's dirty, it won't be a true white. Put a little in there. Put this right here. And I'm going to direct it in by the way I use my brush. See, I'm just putting it, kind of flicking it, laying it down heavy at the edge and flicking it towards the inside. And then when I mop it, I direct it inside. Okay, let's Put a little up in here. Now, can you see that this leaf is round here and here? And it's indented right there. Come down here. It's a fine line. Now I'm going to have to neutralize my brush again because I've got light in it. So I'll pinch it out. I put it into the medium. Blend it in there into my brush. And then pinch it out, and I've neutralized it again. Now I can go back into the darks. So I'm going to pick up some really dark and get my edges in right there. And I'm going to use the mop to pull it in and soften it. I may need this one. It's denser. Yeah, that one, I'm getting a little bit dry now. So I kind of got a line here where I don't really want it, so I'm going to have to work at that. There we go. Sometimes, you know, I use all kinds of mops, you know, big and little, and okay. Now see how this rounds down away from us, and this comes up toward us, and this comes down away from us again. And I'm going to emphasize this with a little more dark as well. Okay. And I kind of do want this to be a line because that's my center vein. Okay, get some more dark on my brush. I'm going to come back up in here. Now see, this is kind of tacked up a little bit, dried down a little bit, so I can control it a little better. Sometimes your surface and your paint is just too wet. You gotta have enough paint, but sometimes you need that paint to be just a little more tacky and a little more in control. Loading my brush again. Turn this around. And I'm going to come down this edge with dark. And I'm going to stop there because that's where I've got it folded. So I'm going to come back down here underneath it. Okay, and come in with this little mop because that seems to work the best for what I'm doing. And soften those out. And see, I've created some more movement. So while, you know, the leaf might not be a perfect cylinder, it's, for all intents and purposes, a cylinder. And I lost my triangle right there, so I'm going to go back in and place that triangle in there. And soften it out. This is really my favorite way of painting. I much prefer this to base coating, floating, and highlighting, because I think it gives you a more natural look, and none of it has to be exactly where, you know, like exactly on point.